Your Excellency, President Widodo, good afternoon in Jakarta, distinguished members of the Cabinet, Excellencies, friends, good morning and good afternoon. It's a great honor for us to have His Excellency President Joko Widodo of the Republic of Indonesia join us here today. Mr. President, first of all, I would like to personally thank you very warmly and the government of Indonesia for the long-standing and strong collaboration with the World Economic Forum. We would have liked to see you in Davos in the snow, and unfortunately, but still we have this great opportunity to have this discussion on the agenda in a virtual way. So thanks to the strong support of the government, and thanks to this support, we have been able to develop an impressive lineup of, I would say, action and impact-driven multi-stakeholder collaboration platforms in Indonesia, including the National Plastic Action Partnership, the Partnership for Indonesia's Sustainable Agriculture, the Sustainable Development Investment Partnership, and the Tropical Forest Alliance. And we are very proud of being part of it. Building on our strong relationship, we hope to further build even other opportunities to work together on topics that are important to the people of Indonesia and for the planet, but also to support you, Your Excellency, in your priorities of your chairmanship of the G20 this year. Mr. President, 2022 is a crucial year for both Indonesia and the world. As you assume the important role as the chair of the G20, the world looks towards Indonesia's leadership to bring together countries in building an equitable recovery from the pandemic, bridging the divide between the global north and south, and overcoming the geopolitical tension and reassuming a long-term view, a strategic view on our future. We hope for the spirit of collaboration to be restored under your leadership and for joint deliberations that lead to concrete impact and to a strong legacy towards the end of the year. I believe this is the best time for us to hear from you, Mr. President. I now invite you to address the international community and to share your vision for Indonesia and the priorities for the G20 presidency. Mr. President, we all look forward to hearing from you.
Mr. Borgebren, President of the World Economic Forum,
para pemimpin ekonomi dunia,
global business leaders, the global community is at unease. Around 84.2% of respondents of the Global Risk Report 2022 of the World Economic Forum felt worried or anxious about the future direction of the world, and we must address such anxiety with concrete actions. Indonesia strives to ensure that its G20 presidency in 2022 can play an important part in addressing such anxiety by becoming a catalyst for an inclusive global economic recovery. Indonesia's theme for the G20 presidency this year is Recover Together, Recover Stronger. We will put forward the spirit of partnership and inclusiveness and provide innovative platforms for transformation in various sectors. Indonesia's G20 presidency will focus on three main priorities in accordance with its national objectives and global situation, namely, first, reforming global health architecture to be more inclusive and responsive to crisis, increasing vaccine production along with its equal distribution, mobilizing investment and funding in a swift manner, taking measures to avert the next crisis. Second, optimizing digital technology to support economic transformation, which must bring positive impact to the society, particularly MSMEs, increasing digital literacy and capability of the people while also ensuring data security. Third, energy transition that is more environmentally friendly. We must provide fair and affordable technology through technology that will spur a circular economy and green economy-based products. These three priorities presents an opportunity and investment opportunity that we must optimize. Indonesia's G20 presidency must bring concrete impact to the recovery and growth of the national economy. The benefits must also be felt by the wider society. We want to utilize the G20 cooperation to boost trade, increasing industrialization, and increasing technological capability in Indonesia and the world. Distinguished global business leaders, I invite all global business leaders to contribute during Indonesia's G20 presidency to ensure a stronger and a more inclusive global recovery. And the cooperation is not limited to governments, not only G2G, but also G2B or even B2B. Indonesia's presidency wishes to strengthen cooperation with global business actors, and interactions with economic actors will be intensified during Indonesia's presidency. I truly hope that businesses, all of you, can contribute your ideas on the concrete steps that can be proposed as part of the concrete outcomes of the G20 summit. Therefore, consecutively with the G20 summit, Indonesia will also hold the WEF Roundtable on Downstream Industries, Bloomberg CEO Forum, as well as the Digital Transformation Expo. Once again, I invite the private sector to identify the concrete contributions that can be proposed in the three priority sectors: health, digital, and energy transition. All of these commitments will become part of the G20 action for a strong and inclusive recovery. Distinguished global business leaders, at the domestic level, Indonesia is using the momentum of the pandemic as a momentum to reform, to lay new foundations for stronger and more sustainable growth. We continue to carry out structural economic transformation, improve investment and business climate. We have improved investment ecosystem, ease business licensing, provide legal certainty, and provide special incentives for investments in priority sectors. The efforts to increase the quality of our human resources continue to be undertaken, among others through upskilling and reskilling programs, establishing polytechnics in cooperation with industries, as well as partnerships with foreign universities. Indonesia will also continue to accelerate infrastructure development that contributes to the improvement of investment and business climate. New centers of growth, particularly on green economy, will continue to be developed. Among others, the development of the ecosystem for electric vehicle industry and development of the largest green industrial park in North Kalimantan. Collaboration with private sectors will be intensified. Investment opportunities are wide open for 6 priority sectors, namely labor-intensive industries with export orientation, including on health industries. Second, renewable energy. Third, infrastructure. Fourth, particularly electric vehicles. Fifth, tourism. And sixth, the value-added mining. A number of development priorities have also been set, including increasing food production through development of food estate, implementing a low-carbon development concept, transforming into digital economy through the expansion, distribution, as well as the improvement of digital infrastructure and service quality. I invite every stakeholder in this forum to partner with Indonesia to advance and prosper together. Thank you very much, Professor.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for laying out the 3 priorities for your G20 presidency, but also showing us how Indonesia will improve its own internal economic conditions and social conditions. And I heard particularly also your call to have business leaders engaged. I think what we require in order to achieve such ambitious objectives is great public-private cooperation. Now, let me ask you some questions, Mr. President. My first question relates again to the G20 presidency. You have outlined the 3 objectives, but at the end, global cooperation will be essential. We will achieve those objectives only if all the 20 countries, actually if the world, comes together on one table and starts collaborative efforts around those 3 objectives. Now, what is your plan to overcome the divide which you see today between countries and to restore this absolutely necessary joint collaboration?
Yeah.
We must first evaluate the current condition. The COVID-19 crisis demonstrates the vulnerability of the global health resilience of all countries. In current collaboration, such as the COVAX facility, is only a temporary solution. And the WHO has yet to play an important role in the strategic aspects of our daily lives. Therefore, in the future, we need a permanent solution so that the world is ready to face unexpected health problems. And Indonesia's presidency will strive for the strengthening of the global health resilience architecture, which will be carried out by an agency such as the IMF in the financial sector, which will be tasked to mobilize global health resources, among others, for providing contingency fund for global health emergencies, procurement of vaccines, therapeutics, and medical equipment. And then we must also formulate the global health protocols, which will regulate international travels, so that we will have the same standard in every country. We will empower developing countries to build capacities in local manufacturing of vaccines, among others in management of patent rights, access to technology, investment in the production of medical equipments and therapeutics and others. We need a joint financing to build this new global health resilience system. The cost will be much, much lower than the losses that we sustain due to the vulnerability of our global health system, such as the one we experienced during the COVID-19 pandemic. I trust that advanced economies will not have any objection to support such initiatives. And of course, the G20 will play a very important role in mobilizing the development of this global health architecture at the moment. In short, we need an agreement among G20 countries. I think that's the first step we have to go through.
Thank you, Mr. President. I agree with you. Certainly, we need a stronger global systemic approach, which means reinforcing the global architecture, not only in the health, but certainly also in the trade and many other sectors. Now, with the health of people and the planet in mind, as you mentioned, we need to see sustainable energy transition across all countries. Alongside other developing nations, Indonesia still relies heavily on coal-fired power generation. In your view, what are the key drivers to Indonesia to successfully accelerate its own energy transition?
Professor Schwab, Indonesia's commitment was reaffirmed during the COP26 in Glasgow that Indonesia is committed to progressively transition to clean energy. However, energy transition requires substantial funding as well as access to green technologies. For developing countries such as Indonesia, it must be backed by technology and financing so that it will not add excess burden to peoples and national budgets as well as industries. Indonesia, for instance, requires $50 billion to transform into renewable energy and a further $37 billion for the sectors of forestry, land use, as well as marine carbon. Indonesia and other developing countries request the contribution of developed countries for funding and transfer of technology. The sources of funding and technology transfer will be a game changer in the development of innovative financing schemes must be done. And these are the questions raised by many developing and many poor countries. They will be asking about this. And the concrete outcomes can only be achieved through strong cooperation. Governments evidently cannot work alone. Government need cooperation, both domestically and globally. On domestic cooperation, the government works together with the energy state-owned enterprises as well as private sectors to design a fair and accessible energy transition. At the international level, the government has worked together with the Asian Development Bank to start the energy transition mechanism. From coal to renewables, and most importantly, how the two things, once again, technology and financing will be key.
Mr. President, I would like to commend you on the firm will to go through this energy transformation or transition, which is so important. But Indonesia also has a treasure. Indonesia is the home of one of the world's largest tropical rainforests and also has the largest mangrove forest coverage in the world. And we know that when we want to fight climate change, we have to rely, of course, on decarbonization, but we also have to rely on nature-based solutions, and progress made over the years to prevent and restore your natural and the natural assets have led Indonesia's positioning, I would say, as a climate superpower. What future role do you foresee for Indonesia in contributing to the global movements towards a more green future, using its particular assets also as a base for learning and policy setting?
Yeah.
A number of policy strategies to achieve a green economy. First is through a low carbon development as envisioned in our midterm development plan and long-term development plan. Second, our net zero emission policies, including the launch of the roadmap to net zero emission in 2060 and net sink for forest and land use sector in 2030. And third, providing green stimulus to encourage the realization of the green economy. Our efforts for conservation and restoration of the environment has succeeded during the past few years. Deforestation rate has declined significantly to 75% in 2019 to 2020 at 115,000 hectares. And forest fires have also fallen drastically. The number of hotspots, for instance, in 2014 amounted to 89,000, and in 2021 we only have 1,300. And the coverage of the forest fires area have now fallen. In 2014, it was 1.7 million hectares. And in 2021, only 229,000 hectares. And then the restoration of peatlands are progressing well. From 2016 to 2021, around 3.74 million hectares have been restored. Mangrove rehabilitation is also conducted on a large scale. For instance, on 2021 to 2020 to 2021, around 50,000 hectares have been rehabilitated, and our target to 2024, we hope to reach 600,000 hectares. And I believe this is the largest in the world, with a carbon sink equal to 4 tropical forests. And if paired with below ground mangrove, it can reach to 10 to 12 times higher. And the financing schemes for conservation and restoration have been prepared, namely the establishment of the Indonesian Environmental Fund, which manages environment funds from domestic and foreign sources, usually managed based on the principles of sustainability that is also credible and accountable, as well as issuing green bonds, an innovative financing scheme to finance environmentally friendly development agenda, issuing government bonds under the category of environmental, social, and governance to expand the investment base that is environmentally and socially responsible. The development of mechanism of carbon pricing, which will provide as an incentive for the private sector to achieve emissions reduction. We've also done that. The implementation of budget tagging for climate in the national budget, as well as implementing carbon tax to mitigate climate change. Indonesia has the potential to be a global market leader in the global carbon trading scheme. In fact, it is predicted to surpass the carbon trade potential of Peru, Kenya, and Brazil as countries with the same tropical forest cover in the world. The establishment of carbon pricing by country in Indonesia is also relatively competitive as compared to pioneer countries of carbon trading such as Brazil, Peru, and India. And Indonesia has a number of RED Plus projects with a result-based payment scheme, such as the Green Climate Fund and the Forest Carbon Partnership Facility and the Biocarbon Fund, with a total commitment of $273.8 million US dollars. I think that is all from me, Professor Schwab.
Mr. President, thank you so much for sharing your comprehensive vision and insights. Together with all our partners and viewers around the world, we send you the best wishes to you and to your government, to the Indonesian people for this very important year. We will now continue this discussion in a smaller business circle, so please be ready to move to the next phase of the discussion. But again, Mr. President, thank you and all the best.
Prof. Aswab, terima kasih.